You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me on socials at SamLittle44 and the podcast at Maple Footy Pod. And now there's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello, yes, welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast, and today is a very special edition of the podcast because I got to sit down with Forge FC striker Maxime Filion, and yeah, just really excited to get to have done that, and just wanted to say a big thank you to him as well as Forge for allowing me to do that. It was a lot of fun. Before we get to that interview, though, I'm going to quickly do, in Maple Footy tradition, the Maple Start, because there was so much Canadian stuff that's happened in the past week, and then we will, of course, get into that interview. I'm very excited for you to hear it. But yes, starting out, Jaden Nelson last week for the Whitecaps got an assist in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and it is enough to see the Whitecaps through to the next round where they will play Forge's, actually, their opponents from earlier in the tournament, Monterrey. So it'll be interesting. I would like to see a Canadian team beat Monterrey. It would be nice, a little bit of revenge for Forge, of course. And yeah, Vancouver, the only Canadian MLS team to win over the weekend. Sadly, Montreal and TFC both lost. TFC 4-2 to Orlando. Definitely obviously not the best start so far for TFC. One draw, one loss so far. Hopefully they can find a way to turn that around. Montreal loses to Minnesota, so we can take a little bit of solace in the fact that Dane St. Clair was in between the sticks and Tani Oluwaseyi was up front. So that is at least just a little bit of okay, yay. But speaking of Montreal, Emil Gazdov has officially signed for them. He was the Golden Glove winner, of course, in the CPL last year. So, yeah, I think this is a phenomenal move for everyone involved, for Pacific, for Montreal, and for Gazdov. I think it benefits everyone so well. He could potentially be the future of Canadian goalkeeping. So I think it's massive. It's another CPL guy getting to go off and hopefully succeed, and it's very, very good to see. In other news, Daniil Henry has officially retired from the game. Just wanted to say, absolute legend. He was a real trailblazer for Canadian soccer, football, and yeah, I absolutely loved watching Daniil Henry play. Just a no-nonsense center back, one of those ones that you love having on your team. He'll make the tackle, at any cost, try to stop the ball from going in the back of the net. I think my favorite story from Daniil Henry is when he was sadly injured during the World Cup, but they said that they could bring him, but he wouldn't probably play until like the third group stage game if he could, and he said, no, give my spot to someone else. And I think that just kind of speaks to the type of guy and player that Daniil Henry was. So yeah, all the best. I know he is coaching right now, so I'm sure that will continue for him. Just absolute leader, legend. I loved Daniil Henry, honestly. Vancouver FC have transferred James Cameron. No, not the guy that directed Titanic. Have transferred James Cameron to the Colorado Rapids Next Gen Pro team. So big news for that as well. Another kind of like Gazdov, another guy that gets to kind of go. I know it's not MLS, but it's the MLS Next Gen, and I think it's very good for him. Dada Luke has officially left Pacific as well, so I think it's a big loss for Pacific. I know there was rumors of him going to Vancouver FC, also the USL, so I'll be interested to see where he does land. He's a very exciting player to watch, and definitely a lot of fun. Alphonso Davies moving into Europe now, out injured for the time being. Potentially maybe not too bad. Jesse Marsh didn't seem too concerned when he was asked about it. And then minor knocks to Crepeau and Schaffelberg, but they should be back soon, apparently. More concerning, Atakubi, who has started the season on fire for Vancouver, and Richie Lorea of TFC. maybe not as lucky with minor injuries. Jesse Marcy more concerned about those two being out, which maybe isn't a good sign. Hopefully, they are back in time for the CONCACAF Nations League that kicks off the semifinals in about 2 weeks. So really hope that both of them are back. And yeah, I mean, injuries happen. It is a shame. And I hope that they're back because they're just both so integral to Canada, of course. And then Jonathan David, last story here. Jonathan David grabs an assist against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. So massive for Jonathan David. That's 31 goals and assists in all competitions for him this season. He is absolutely on fire. So yeah, that was a very quick rapid fire Maple start. Without any further ado, let's get into the interview with Maxime Filion from Forge FC. I'm very excited for you to hear this one. Hello, welcome to the Maple Footy Podcast. And sitting with me today is a very special guest. His name is Maxime Filion. He plays for Forge FC in the CPL, and I'm so happy to have him joining me.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. And I do appreciate you taking the time to do this with me today. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And I firstly, of course, want to congratulate you on making your professional debut with Forge last month against Monterrey in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Thanks. Honestly, it was amazing. What a way to start your pro career, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Especially in such a high profile game like that, getting a step on the pitch, even though it was cold. But I'm sure that didn't matter at the time.
No, not at that time. I was just happy to get on, you know?
Absolutely. And yeah, something a little bit cool is I was actually at the game. So it's pretty cool to now get to my first ever interview is with you, actually. So just kind of cool to me that I was at your game and now I get to have you on this podcast. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm happy to be the first. I'll forever be the first.
Yes. Kind of like Forge, forever.
Yeah, exactly. That's we have it in the locker room.
Thank you. And so just starting off here, you went to Czech Republic at a young age to play in the pro academy, SK Dynamo. What was it like traveling halfway across the world to chase this dream?
Honestly, it was nice. It was at my club, OTFC in Ottawa. My coaches had contacts in Czech Republic because he was Czech. He's Czech also. So went over there. Had a great time. It was a great trial and everything. But I was too young to go there at the start. And then I decided to go to the uni to get an education before pursuing the pro level.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, honestly, it was an amazing experience, especially with a new language and everything. It's something. It's something you have to get used to it. Different culture. It's nice.
Yeah, something that you don't really think about is the different culture that you now have to assimilate it to. So kind of what was it like? Like, obviously, it's a bit different. Like you said, different language, different culture, kind of going from Canada and then over into Europe with the Czech. I just kind of, how was that kind of acclimatization period?
So I was with a family with another guy that was on the team, and honestly, they treated me super well and everything. The mom spoke English, the kids spoke English as well, so that was great. So at least you weren't, well, it was English, but it's not that great of an English, but it was fine. It was you were able to communicate and everything. It was great, honestly. The people are really nice. It's nice. You try to learn the language as well while you're there, and then you do what you can. Especially when you don't understand, you have to ask questions and everything. Hopefully, the coach speaks to you in English after that. But
yeah,
it works.
Well, obviously, you made it work a little bit at least. It all worked out in the end, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And growing up, did you play any other sports, or was it always soccer?
No, I played a lot of sports. I played soccer. I started when I was like around 12. No, that's not true. 11, and then I played house league, just having fun with my friends. And I also played hockey. I played volleyball as well. I played a lot of sports growing up. I was kind of a diverse athlete, and I think that helped my game as well. And then one day, I think I was 15 or 16, I decided to just stick with soccer because that's the sport that I like the most. And also I thought that I had the most chance to go pro. So I stuck with soccer.
Yeah, no, that's sick. I mean, once again, definitely worked out now that you're playing for Ford. But yeah, and then why do you think you kind of excelled a little bit more at soccer than, say, hockey or volleyball?
Oh wow, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't. I think honestly, I was just better at soccer. I was spending a lot more time on soccer, so
Yeah.
I also like the sport a bit more. So when you have love for the sports, it's easier to keep going and to push harder. Volleyball is just a bit too repetitive for me. It was always the same thing. You have the creative aspect in soccer that you don't have in volleyball, and then hockey, it was more. I was already playing at a higher level for soccer, and then I had hockey that was just playing for fun. At first, I just played for fun with my friends because all my friends, a small town on the east side of Ottawa, everyone just plays hockey. No one really plays soccer.
Yeah.
So played hockey with my friend, and at that point, I was kind of over it, and I just wanted to stay with soccer.
Fair. And then in your NCSA college recruiting profile, it actually has your position listed as a defender. I just want to know if that was true, that going into college you were expected to be playing as a defender.
No, I played defender for 2 years. So I played either fullback or center back for my first 2 years of university. So that's how I got recruited to Montreal. And then after that, my coach had the brilliant idea of playing me striker. And then from then, I just honestly, it was just that position just fit me a lot better towards my physical qualities and everything. He saw something, and thanks to him, now I'm here. I want to say thanks to Pat Ramondo. He's a great coach.
Amazing. And then you said 2 years into 2 years into university, you switched. I just want to know what kind of do you think having played as a defender for years now, it gives you a different, unique read of the game, kind of knowing how a defender could potentially mark you out, being a striker, and kind of now being
exactly. At first, that's because I had no clue how to move or anything. I'm still new to it. It's only been 1 year that I've played striker, so honestly, I'm still new to it. But at first, it was really okay, well, what do I hate that strikers do when I defend them? So I tried to apply that. I tried to really be kind of annoying, to defenders because I know what they don't like. So that's what I tried to do with my knowledge of playing center back.
And then can you walk us through all the emotions and feelings on that draft day when you're waiting to be drafted to the CPL?
Honestly, it was amazing, because you don't know, you're just waiting there, you're hoping. And also I got injured at the end of the season. I played the Canadian Championship, but on a big injury. So it was, honestly, I was like, all right, well, and I just came back from an ACL. So I was out for a year, and I had an ACL surgery, then a meniscus surgery.
Oh my goodness.
So 2 different surgeries, and it was a rough year,
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, because at first, as soon as I tore my ACL, I was like, all right, this we moved on. I was like, next season is gonna be my best season ever. Then I tore my meniscus till later on, and then I was like, all right, well, you kind of gotta accept that. Hopefully, you just can be ready, So that's honestly, the medical team helped me so much. I put a lot of hard work in, and I got to the season. I was ready. That's why I was playing. If you see some pictures, I have that big metal brace.
The big strap.
That was the only way I could play. Because with the meniscus surgery as well, it was much safer to have the brace to play with it. So at that point, I knew it was like, all right, well, maybe it won't be my best season, but I'll do the best that I can. And then I had a great start to the season. But then after that, I got injured. So that was tough. That was tough mentally as well, because it sucks being injured, especially when you're a year out. You just want to play, and then got injured. So I was off for 4 weeks, and then for the RSCQ final, we just pushed it, and then the Canadian Championship was right after. So we just pushed through all of that, and well, I'm here, so I guess it worked out. Huh?
No, I would say it did. Yeah, I think it really definitely shows how determined and motivated you were to get to where you are now. I think it shows a lot about your character, having to play through ACL and the meniscus. A lot of people would just go, obviously it's not meant to happen, but you pushed through, you played through. And I mean, obviously, like you said, it works out in the end. And I saw that you netted 9 goals in 11 games, was it last season?
Yeah. It was great. It was great. I had a really good start of the season, and then after that, Canadian Championship and the final, just got to put a goal, and it was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then on the draft day, who's the first person that you call or text after you get the news that you've been drafted for?
Had to be my girlfriend. Sorry for my parents, but I called them after. Called my girlfriend, and then it was just great news. Celebrated with my team a little bit, and then straight to the girlfriend.
Awesome. Yeah, no, because there was that video. I don't know if it was on your Instagram or Forge's Instagram of when you got drafted and you're sitting in your locker room with your team, and everyone's just so hyped for you.
No, it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, no, it's got to be an incredible feeling, like especially after all the stuff that you had to push through to get to that moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made it even better, especially for my team that saw me go through all of that within a year. So for them, they saw the hard work that I put in and everything. It was really nice. It was awesome of them to be there, and it was great.
Awesome. And then, of course, sticking with that draft, hearing your name called by Forge, the most successful club in the CPL, what's that first thing that you think of in that moment?
Honestly, oh, wow. Honestly, you don't even think about the team. You're just, wow, I'm going pro. That's the first thought. Then after that, it's really, it sets in, and you're like, wow, you're really going with Forge. It's kind of a dynasty. It's been the team that I've won the most.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it was amazing. It was just like, all right, well, you're going into this, and you got to show yourself. You got to show that you're good. Got to get ready, and
getting to go to Forge, like you said, the dynasty of the CPL. Beat Montreal last year, beat TFC last year.
Yeah, especially after a great year like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be just so rewarding in that moment to go, amazing. I'm going to like such a great spot, great team, lots of players that you now get to play with and against as well. And then, of course, speaking of Forge, getting a step on that Hamilton pitch, freezing cold, that's got to be the most Canadian pro debut of all time, right?
Gotta be. But honestly, that feeling was amazing. I can't, at first, I had to keep my smiling, My the strength coach, Brian, he called me. He was like, all right, go, you're going on the pitch. I had the biggest smile. And then after that, I was like, all right, this is just a normal game. You're getting into it. I was happy I'm making my pro debut, but then it was game time. Get into it, do your job. Then when you get on the field, honestly, it's like any other game. It's just, you're just in the flow. You just do whatever you need to do. Yeah. Honestly, you don't notice it. You don't it's weird because you just play, and then after the game, I was like, well, honestly, that was cool. And then when you think about it, you're like, oh my god, that was really amazing. That doesn't happen to everybody. You got a chance of a lifetime. It was great.
Yeah, no, got swept up in the moment, right? You're so happy, got a lock in type thing. Now I have to go out there, do my job, show them what I can do.
Yeah, 100%. Just play it like any other game. You don't notice the fans. You don't notice anything. It was just get to work. Hopefully, you can do whatever you can help the team.
Yeah. And then, of course, playing uni soccer to playing against the literal 4-time champions of this competition, getting thrown in there. Is there an instant difference that you kind of notice in the level of intensity between university soccer and then obviously pro soccer in the Champions Cup?
Yeah, it's because honestly, it's all the details, so many details are important. Honestly, where you put a pass, what you do after it, you got to be locked in every single second. You can't really zone out if you have to be locked in. And then honestly, for everything's faster. Every touch, everything has a purpose. Everything is faster. So honestly, it was that. Uni soccer is a lot more chaotic. It's a lot more transition. It's a lot more go. It's more physical because we have a bit less technical abilities. So honestly, it was a change. I got used to it with the team during the camp. So thankfully we had a great camp to get ready for that game.
Yeah, a camp in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
Cold here. But I mean, that's pretty interesting that you say that, because the competition for Monterrey, of course, Ramos didn't play on the night, but Ramos is a part of their squad. So it kind of shows that level and stature of that club. And then to be coming straight out of university into that's got to be just such a almost pinch me moment, really.
Yeah. No, honestly, I keep repeating myself. It was just amazing because I couldn't believe it.
Absolutely. And then, so kind of going into Mexico and in that second leg, how great was it getting away for that second leg, away from this terrible winter that we've been having here in Hamilton?
I like this winter. No, I'm joking. It was nice. No, it was honestly, especially with the stadium over there, the fans, the atmosphere it was great. It was there were a lot, like, I wouldn't say mean. I would say a little meaner. Like they whistle, they boo whenever our team does anything that's kind of good. So anytime we took a shot, boo, or they whistled or anything, it was just funny. So honestly, it was a great atmosphere. It was amazing playing over there. Especially over there and on the nice grass and everything. Great stadium, beautiful view. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, we were watching it on TV here, and just the look of that stadium was just so like almost like, wow, like it's such a like, at least on TV, it's a beautiful stadium. So I can only imagine like being there and just kind of looking out at all these like diehard supporters and then going, okay, like there's a moment where it's got to be like, this is pretty sick.
Yeah, especially while warming up and everything, like before, when you're like, you get called onto the sideline to warm up before going on everything. But then again, as soon as you get into the game, everything just goes away. You just think about footy and just play.
Awesome. And then what was the overall kind of feeling after that second leg defeat? Of course, your Champions Cup run kind of comes to an end, but still, I think you guys still played very well, especially against the competition. I just want to know, kind of, what was that feeling once that final whistle was blown?
Honestly, it was disappointing, because we knew we could have scored. We could have, because we had a lot of chances. We just couldn't put him in the back of the net. But it was a disappointing feeling. It was all right. Well, we're out, and then we got to move on to the next thing. We're moving on to the CPL season. Gotta destroy that and hopefully play and then we're gonna play Canadian Championship. Mm-hmm. Hopefully play either Toronto or Montreal if we win against Halifax. So
yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. And I do, like you said, I think you guys actually did. You guys played well. I think the scoreline was not of it, because you guys, like, Borges hits the bar in that second leg. There's a couple of missed chances here and there, and I think some of it can be attributed to a little bit of rust as well. A lot of you guys haven't played since November. Yeah, start of November it was. So I think it, like, maybe a full in-form Forge maybe puts one or two of those chances away. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure. Like a middle of the season Forge for sure. As getting back into it, you have a preseason. Mm-hmm. We're not going to make any excuses, but yeah, no, for sure. If we're more in shape and everything, would have been better.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how much does playing in the weather kind of affect those games? Because you go from the coldest cold that you can in Hamilton to then like a week later playing in like beach kind of weather. Yeah. And so how does that kind of weather affect how you're playing? There's less slipping in that second leg, but also you're not as freezing. So I just kind of wondering how the weather kind of impacted you guys.
Honestly, for the first leg, we were able to run a lot more because honestly, with the cold, you don't get tired as much. Your stamina just gives you a little notch higher, And then with that stadium, it was humid. They turn off the ventilation during the game, and it gets very humid. Yeah. So it was honestly, the team wasn't too used to that. Especially it was their home field advantage. We had ours with the cold, and that was theirs. So it was just honestly the cardio may have took a hit. We weren't able to run as much. So, probably that was their home advantage and ours as well.
Yeah, just the biggest difference, right? Yeah. I mean, we have the stereotypical, like, cold, and they have the stereotypical heat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then how important do you think it is having tested yourselves against a Liga MX side ahead of this new season coming up?
Honestly, it's they probably... It's Monterrey, they probably have one of the best teams in the North American continent. Yeah. So, they're going to go far in the CONCACAF. Hopefully Vancouver beats them, but we'll see. Hopefully rooting for the Canadian teams, but we'll see. And honestly, gives us confidence, that we had great moments in the game that we were able to create a lot of good things. So honestly, I think it's just confidence that we're going to get into the CPL season and try to crush everyone.
Absolutely. And that's what we love to hear. You want to support the Canadian teams in the competition, but also knowing that, there's a high likelihood that you could be facing a Vancouver or TFC Montreal throughout the season in the Canadian Championship as well. And then just kind of switching a little bit here, what's your go-to hype song pregame?
Oof. Oh, that's a great one. Honestly, it depends. It depends my mood. It depends.
Yeah.
This is one that I like. It's just a song that I really like. It's a French song. It's called Petit Génie. Okay. It's a great song. Honestly, it's a mood setting song. It's not a hype song. It's not a hype up song or anything. It's just get in the mood, get into game time and everything. Is just a great mood song. It's a bit of like get into the flow.
Yeah. So now we know that before the game, I know what you'll be listening to.
Oh yeah, I'll for sure be listening to it at least once.
Good. And then, not to get too personal here, but switching gears, your girlfriend Florence Belzile is also going pro this year in the NSL with Ottawa. How proud is that for the both of you to get to kind of achieve this dream literally within the same year of each other?
We honestly, it's amazing. I always knew she was going to go pro. Yeah. She's an amazing player. She's amazing. She's going to go very far. She's better than me. She's really good. And I always knew she was going to go pro. Me, it was more on the I'm trying everything I can. Like I will do everything I can to go pro. Mm-hmm. And honestly, we talked about it even yesterday. It comes up often. It's amazing. Who would have thought that we would go pro at the same time, same year? Yeah, it's crazy. It's an amazing feeling. I'm so happy that for her that she signed her first professional contract as well. And then I got the opportunity and I did the same thing. So it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love how your face just totally lit up there. Yeah. Like you are just like, you can tell just how proud you are of her and the two of you. Like that's got to be just so cool. You've both been working at that, have been together, and now you both get to go pro in this moment, especially such a historic time for Canada, especially for the women. Of course, they finally get their pro league here, and then for the men, of course, World Cup's coming next year, so it's such a historic time as well to get to be doing this together. I think.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, especially with the new women's league. It creates great opportunities, and it's amazing. She's gonna be in Ottawa. Hopefully, we'll see each other a couple times, but yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and it'd be cool if like maybe one weekend the Atletico Ottawa, maybe you guys travel to Ottawa when she's playing. You can kind of maybe make it work and
yeah. We're hoping. I think we organize I think she has a week off or something that we're gonna organize something. It's gonna be nice.
Amazing. And then of course, how important is it for people to get out there and support the NSL in their first season, as it was kind of for people who did it for the CPL 7 seasons ago?
Yeah. Honestly, it's really important, especially with women's sports. It's upcoming. They deserve it. They at first, like some of the pro leagues in Europe, they're not even pro. They only have some pro teams, and some teams are still semi-professionals. They don't have to get paid. So it's amazing to have, especially Canada. They've been amazing this for forever in the women's division. They won Olympic gold medal. They have legends and everything. It's when you think about Canadian soccer at first, I think the men are getting there. With our stars as well, with Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, and all of that. But at first, me especially when I started playing Canada soccer, Christine Sinclair. Just think about that. So it's just amazing that finally we're getting a pro league in Canada for the women's soccer.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's long overdue as well. And like you said, a woman like Christine Sinclair was such a trailblazer for the program, just in general, like both men and women. Like she did so much for this program. And I think they finally get that.
Yeah.
And you've had a taste of championship gold with Montreal, of course, does that kind of make you even hungrier to replicate that at a pro level?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially that we lost in the final this year.
Yeah,
with Montreal and last year as well. Even though I wasn't playing, it was heartbreaking. Both of those heartbreaking. So you want to win. It's just you're hungry. Montreal has been a program that has always won, and Forge as well. So you're going into programs that are used to winning and do everything to win. It's a winning mentality. You have to learn that. So I think I learned that at Montreal, and hopefully I can apply it here.
Yeah, and of course, like you say about that winning mentality, now having played with two like winning kind of teams, do you think that kind of speaks to you and your mentality of you want to win, much like Forge and Montreal as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, like it's you have to learn it. You have to, because some players, like some guys, you just go through the motion, but here you have to, every day you have to win. It's competitive. We're doing everything we can to win on game day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And do you find that there's like that competitiveness even in training as well? Like everybody's trying to maybe like win a scrimmage, win a battle in training.
Yeah, for sure. Especially sometimes when like you make a mistake and you're like, oh shit, and then it leads to a goal. You're just so pissed off, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, you got to catch up and then redeem yourself and score a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And also on the bright side, it's training, so it's not a game,
exactly.
And then of course, team wise, this may go without saying, but what are some of the goals for this upcoming season?
I mean, especially you got to win the league. So hopefully the regular season and the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Then honestly, go as far as we can in the Canadian Championship. We have that to look forward to, playing great teams, big teams. So yeah, we got to move forward. We got to do whatever we can. And honestly, it'd be great to win that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was at the game last year when Forge beat TFC at Tim Hortons Field, and like you just kind of felt that special like feeling in the air that night of like this team, like they're going like blow for blow with an MLS side that's been around for years, MLS Cup champions, of course. So I think it really shows that the CPL does have a lot of legitimate competition in there to be able to kind of go out there and go out with the MLS teams and kind of show, like we're just as good.
Yeah.
And I think that's
great. So you've got to win everything. When you come here, you sign up to win everything.
Yeah. And especially because now you guys are defending the league, of course.
Yeah.
They came runner-up in the playoffs, but no strangers to winning that as well, 4 under their belt. So if you guys could be the first to kind of win the league and the playoffs, that'd be quite the successful debut season, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. And then it repeat the first forever again. So
yeah. Exactly. It seems to be always Forge that's first to do it, right? First to win the CPL playoffs, and then first to do it at home as well. So if you could be the first to do the double, you're the first for all of it.
Has to happen, especially in the first season. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, first season. There's like that's amazing, right? Your first debut season, you can't ask for more, right? No. And then being a young striker, getting to learn from guys like Brian Wright, Kyle Becker, Tristan Borges, and so many other great Canadian players, what you look forward to most about getting to work with them day in and day out over the next several months?
Honestly, the guys have been super nice. Brian has taught me so many things about being a striker, especially I'm new to this position. It's amazing. He took me under his wing. He's helping me learn. He's got so much experience. He played everywhere. He played in the MLS, USL. He played for Ottawa, for York, and now for Hamilton. So it's great to learn from the best. And honestly, just try to learn as much as you can every day. So try to get better. Try to, if it's in a technical aspect, a tactical aspect, a physical, anything that can help, you just try to learn it from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially Brian Wright, such a decorated striker for like as a Canadian in the CPL. He won Players Player of the Year last year. Of course, like you mentioned, played with York, Ottawa, played in the MLS. So is it kind of like if he's kind of talking to you, you're taking mental notes of everything he's saying to just kind of improve everything that you can do
Yeah, for sure. You take everything you want to learn. You have to come in with a learning mentality, and you're here to learn to get better. So anything that he's gonna tell me, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna note it down.
Absolutely. And what player, maybe current or former, maybe it's Brian Wright, maybe it's someone else, would you say that you want to try model your game after?
I would say a bit of Brian Wright, especially that he's teaching me a lot of things, and we have similar shaped body. Obviously, he's a lot bigger. I'm a bit taller, but I think especially that he's teaching me a lot of things. He's a great guy. Yeah. Hopefully, I can become a bit like him.
Absolutely. And what players did you kind of like love to watch when you were growing up?
In the CPL?
Yeah, just in general, if you like CPL as well, or maybe Premier League, League, anything like that.
Well, of course, the big stars like Ronaldo, because there's Ronaldo, there's Messi. Both of them, you have to. The Clásicos, you have to watch those.
Yeah.
But then more recently, it was Haaland. I like to base my game off of him as well. So I feel like we have similar qualities. So it was him. And then in the CPL, I went to some Ottawa games, So when I was in Ottawa with my parents, and Brian Wright was there, so it was great to see him as well. I was like, wow, he's a great striker. At the time, I was a center back, but honestly,
yeah, center back, you probably fearing having to potentially move Brian Wright,
especially such a big guy.
Yeah. So like it's kind of a full circle moment then, getting to watch him in the stands when he was with Ottawa to now literally sharing the pitch with him. That's got to feel like a full circle moment.
Oh yeah, no, it's especially first training when I saw him, I was like, this guy's here.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it either. I was like, what is he doing here? Yeah, it was great.
Yes. And we of course have talked about your rough patches with injuries, of course. Kind of when you find yourself in those kind of situations, how do you kind of try to get back to playing as regularly as possible and as good as you know that you can?
You just work so much. You gotta go in the gym. You gotta put in the work every day. You can't miss out. There's gonna be rough patches, of course. There's gonna be times when you're less motivated. When there's always setbacks. It never goes perfectly. At first, my mentality was, all right, I want it to be perfect. I want to be back in 6 months right away.
Yeah.
Honestly, it went great. It was going really well. And then, you tear meniscus, something happens. There's always setbacks. I sprained my groin. So there's always setbacks, and you just got to deal with them because your body isn't used to running and doing everything because you took a break for 3 months you can't run. So and then after that you get back into running, and then you get into sprinting, and then you get into changing directions. Your body just has to relearn everything. Obviously you're going to be slower. You got to accept, you really have to accept that you will get better. You're just not at that point right now, but it's just all part of the plan. It's just the recovery process is there for that. The medical team is there for that. You got to trust them, and you just got to work as hard as you can day in, day out.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to your kind of winning and determination mentality, right? You just always want to be the best that you can possibly be, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we talked about your team goals a little bit earlier. Just for you personally, it doesn't have to be a trophy. What would you like to achieve this season with Forge?
Obviously, get some minutes, and as well, I really want to score goals. Yeah, I'm there for that. I think I can help the team with that, and score goals. It's an amazing feeling, and when you're a striker, you get brought in for that. You got to deliver. So,
and especially getting a score in front of like the Barton Battalion, that would be such like a great feeling, right? Like
especially at home.
Yeah, exactly. They're so passionate too, right? So it'd be amazing to get to score in front of them, right?
Yeah. Hopefully it's at home. But hopefully it's at home.
Yeah. First one's gotta be at home, right?
Yeah. I'm not gonna stop myself from scoring away, but
I'm not sure they like it too much if you decide not to score not at home. And then just one final question here. What would you like the Forge faithful to know about you ahead of this debut campaign?
Oh, that I'm a good guy. No, honestly, it's about me. That's great. That I'm gonna leave it all on the pitch. I'm here for every game. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna work as hard as I can. I'm gonna do anything in my power to make this club win and to help the team. So just you got a warrior, so I'm gonna do that.
Absolutely. And hearing you speak about your trials and tribulations, it definitely does sound like you are willing to do whatever it needs to be done to get out there, play as much as you can, help the team as much as you can, and be as determined as possible to get the results, whether both personally for you and then also for the team as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Max, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I really do appreciate it. And I want to wish you the absolute best of luck in this upcoming CPL season. And I'll be very much looking forward to watching you get your first minutes and hopefully get that first professional goal.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Hopefully I get it as well.
So that does conclude the interview with Maxime Filion, and that does conclude this episode of the Maple Footy Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and another, once again, big time thank you to both Max and Forge for allowing me to sit down with him and have what I think was a great conversation. I do hope that you enjoyed, and just the absolute best of luck to both him and Forge going into this season. As of today, it's exactly a month before the CPL starts, so definitely something to be excited about there. But thank you so much for listening, and until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates. Remember to support Canadian football, be kind, and until next time, live, laugh, little.